All right, welcome to the Hank Haney Podcast on nofilter.net. Great to be with you today. I want to talk a little bit about the Players' Championship and the status of the Players' Championship. I'm getting ready to do an about face here on this one. Now, today's podcast is brought to you by haneyuniversity.com. You can go to haneyuniversity.com and find out information about lessons from me at my new studio in Deerfield, Illinois. That is looking really good. I'm actually very, very proud of that this studio. It looks great. Got some Foresight golf simulators and a great putting green, a well putt, big tilt putting green, Sam Putt Lab. It's a cool spot. So if you want information on that, go to haneyuniversity.com. This is the time of the year when everybody's getting wound up about golf, and it's time to get better. So let's make it a goal to get better at golf this year. All right, back to the Players' Championship. The tournament, I thought, was fantastic. Rory McIlroy wins, 28th win on the PGA Tour, multiple winner of the Players' Championship. 3 players in the history of the game of golf, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods, and Rory McIlroy, that's a pretty good list right there, have won multiple majors and multiple times at the Players' Championship. Tiger won the Players' Championship twice. Jack won it 3 times, and Rory has won it twice. So that's a pretty good list to be on right there. Rory McIlroy was incredibly impressive. Played some great little three-quarter shots. I thought that was the most impressive thing that I have seen. I mean, Rory McIlroy can pound the ball. He drives it great. Sometimes he putts good. He's putted better the last few years, which to go on later in your career and have your putting improve is very, very impressive. Doesn't happen with a lot of players. Most players tend to get worse as they go on in their career. He's putted better later in his career. Finished 10th at putting at the Players' Championship. And I always talk about how the perfect way to win is top 10 putting, top 10 ball striking, and about 80-something% of the tournaments that are won on the PGA Tour. That's the formula. So when Rory finished 10th in putting, the way he strikes the ball, that's going to be a tough formula to beat, although it was a playoff with J.J. Spaun. But at the end, his the drive on 16, and then the flighted iron shot on 17 and a flighted iron shot on 18, although it was over by then. But the shot on 17 was impressive, and the drive on 16 in the playoff was thoroughly impressive. So thinking about the Players' Championship, and here's what I was thinking, okay? I'm watching the TV, and of course, the Golf Channel hypes it all up. I don't even watch the Golf Channel anymore, but I mean, I had it on for like half a second, or I don't even think I had it on. Actually, I think I saw it on the X on Twitter, and I saw them talking about something. You know, they're always trying to pump it up and make it, you know, everything's bigger than it is, and they were talking about, you know, major championship. Now, there's only 4 real golf tournaments. I've said this for you know, ever. The Masters is number 1. The Open Championship, the British Open, is number 2. The U.S. Open and the PGA are somewhere right there, 3 and 4. You know, the U.S. Open has always been above the PGA Championship, but they've screwed it up so many times in the last few years with all their controversy and the way they set up the golf course and this and that. I don't know. You know, the PGA has typically a really good field. So those 2 tournaments are close. But those are the 4 real golf tournaments, and then you've got the Ryder Cup, which is just an exhibition. But it's a fun exhibition, and it draws a lot of people to watching the exhibition. Those are your 5 real events. Okay. But you have 4 real golf tournaments, the 4 majors. And people have talked for years, and you know, it's always seemed like it's been the goal of the Players' Championship to become the 5th major. And I have always said there's only 4 majors. There's only going to be 4 majors. I'm getting ready to do an about face here. I watched Lee Trevino, and they were interviewing him, somewhere, and they said, what do you think about the Players Championship being considered the fifth major? And he said, I think it should be the fifth major. And when I heard him say that, I'm like, and they're not going to do that. But then I started thinking, you know what? And I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, how is the PGA Tour and professional golf in general going to be like more relevant? How is it going to get more people to watch? Why is it that people aren't watching as much golf? Because they aren't watching as much golf. Now they're spread out, between LIV and PGA Tour, but I think in general people are watching less golf because the problem is that when you take the talent that you've got, and not just talent, but the well-known talent that you have in professional golf, and you split it up between these two tours, LIV and PGA Tour, now all of a sudden everything is just diluted. I mean, there's a lot of good players on LIV, there are a lot of good players on the PGA Tour, but it's just diluted. And the PGA Tour, there's so many players playing that you have to watch so many guys to find somebody and they might not even be playing good that week. So if they're not playing good on the PGA Tour, you don't even see them. Because they got 144 players they're going to show, and you're not going to see the guy that if he's not playing good. LIV, they're going to show everybody. They got a limited amount of guys. Well, they got like 60 guys. They're going to show everybody. They're not going to show everybody on the PGA Tour, so you don't even get to see the players that the better known players, and I think that's a problem. That's a big problem. And then you got slow play and you got all these other things. But the one thing you've really got is you've got so many events that are just meaningless. Like everybody rags on the LIV and they talk about the fact that it's just exhibitions. Well, the PGA Tour is just exhibitions too. I mean, other than the major championships, they're all just exhibitions. So if they've got 4 real golf tournaments, and they can go and they can make them, signature events and put more money in the purse and do it. Like there's no difference in the ratings to speak of between these signature events and just a regular event. Okay, maybe it's a little different. There's a little better field, but not much. It's not much different. And so how can they make tournaments more relevant? And one of the easiest ways is to make it a major championship. So I'm about facing on this because I've been thinking like, what do they need to do? It's easy to come up with problems and analyze problems, but how do you come up with solutions? And I've said, that they need to do something to make it more interesting. The fastest, easiest thing they could do to make it more interesting would be to have more major championships. Now, I don't think all of a sudden they're going to have 6 or 7 or 8, but the Players Championship it's a big tournament. I mean, everybody knows it's big. Everybody knows it's the 5th biggest tournament. I mean, myself and everybody included knows it's the 5th biggest tournament. Now it's been diluted because you're missing all the LIV guys, but hopefully that's going to get straightened out if they ever do come to an agreement with the PGA Tour, LIV and PGA Tour. And supposedly they're getting close. You keep hearing everybody say it, and the commissioner's saying it. But I mean, I'm like, close, but let's get something done. But sooner or later they're going to come together, and if they do, then the field at the Players Championship, it will be even better than it was this last week. But to have another tournament, to have, instead of having 4 tournaments that are consequential, to have 5 tournaments that are really consequential, I mean, that just helps golf. So I'm about facing on this issue. I am doing a 360. I am saying that I think they should make the Players Championship a major championship. And the reason I'm saying that is because golf needs help. Professional golf on TV needs help. And the fastest, best way to help it is have more significant tournaments. And what makes the tournament significant is history. And there's a lot of history at the Players Championship. And I think the fact that they play an iconic golf course, one that everybody knows, with an incredibly, arguably the most famous hole in golf, the 17th hole at TPC Sawgrass. I think the Players Championship could handle being a fifth major because of the golf course and the history, and they've had great champions, and it's a kind of a unique championship because a lot of different types of players have won there and can win there. So that alone, I think, is a definition of a great golf course. So I think that is a big thing. One of the things that makes it a little easier, I think, to make the Players Championship a fifth major is that Tiger Woods is behind Jack Nicklaus in the major championship count. 18 to 15. Nicklaus has 18, Tiger has 15. Tiger's never going to catch Jack Nicklaus. Despite what anybody thinks, it's not happening. He's not passing Jack Nicklaus. Jack's won 3 players, Tiger's won 2. So if you add the player championships in at the major counts, Nicklaus would have 21, Tiger would be up to 17. It'd be a difference of 4 versus a difference of 3, 18, 15. What difference does it make? Jack's still going to be considered the greatest player of all time if you consider just the major championships. He was going to be without the players or with the players. And in a lot of people's mind, nobody, and including mine, nobody's ever played golf better than Tiger Woods. So in my mind, he's the greatest player ever, and I'm going off a win percentage and dominating wins, and the fact that his career was cut short with injuries. Shoulda, woulda, coulda, but I don't think anybody's ever played the game better than Tiger Woods, winning on all different kinds of courses and tournaments, and not that Nicklaus didn't, but that's just my opinion, and I'm not the only one that holds that opinion. I think Tiger played the game better than anybody that's ever played the game, but Nicklaus has the record with major championships, and the point is it would have been hard to make the Players Championship. Let's say Tiger goes and he caught Jack Nicklaus, and then all of a sudden you make the Players Championship a major, and Nicklaus had won 3 of those, and Tiger had only won 2. And you say, no, we're going to count the players, and Jack's still ahead in major championships. That would have been really hard to do, but it's not as hard to do given the fact that Tiger's not going to catch Jack. Jack's going to have the record for all-time major championships, unlikely to ever be broken. At least not for a long. There's nobody playing golf today that's going to break it. Let's just put it that way. And then you add the players to it, and you do the same with Tiger. You just make the difference one more. It's not a big deal. So I think that I really think that was an obstacle in my mind. It was, because I was always cheering for Tiger, and I'm like he can't just make that a major and give Nicklaus an extra one when it wasn't a major when they played. But now you could, and you elevate that tournament. You elevate the major wins of 3 of the greatest players, which is Rory, Tiger, and Jack. Rory's way behind Tiger and Jack, but still he's one of the greatest players ever. There's no denying that. I mean, I don't know where he fits, but top 10. I mean, so I don't know, somewhere he's up there. It's not a long list that's ahead of Rory, but I'm kind of in favor now. I'm in favor now of giving the Players Championship a higher status in hopes that it will elevate a tournament and make it so that there's more meaningful tournaments, because there really needs to be. They got to do something to make more meaningful events. Now, right now you got 5. You got the 4 majors and you got the Ryder Cup. If you add the players in there, you got 6. You got 5. You'd have 5 majors, and you'd have the Ryder Cup. You have 6 events, and if you spread that out and somehow figure out a way to somehow get it up to 8 or 10, really meaningful tournaments. I don't know what those are, but you got to figure out some way to do it. Then that is what golf needs. Golf needs to be seen by more people, and it needs to have more relevant events in order for that to happen. And the easiest one to pump up would be the Players Championship. So I'm gonna agree with Lee Trevino on this one, and I'm gonna agree that the Players Championship. I'm gonna do the about face and the Players Championship. I would make the fifth major. So that is a change of heart by Hank Haney. Hope everybody enjoyed the podcast. And we will talk to you soon on the Hank Haney Podcast. Go to nofilter.net to find me. I'm right here on the Hank Haney Podcast.